Sarawak won't stay silent on corruption. 9 Malaysians too dependent on the way home, and Malaysia transitions into endemic phase. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Muhammad Yusuf, and you're now watching TVS Nightline. Top of the hour. Sarawak's public sector shall not rest on its laurels in the face of corruption and misuse of power, with emphasis on cultivating a culture of integrity and improving its administration while eradicating corruption altogether.
Di samping itu, mungkin boleh diusahakan melalui unit integriti dan ombudsman, kemungkinan kita bekerjasama dengan pihak yang mempunyai kepakaran untuk membangunkan mekanisme pengukuran indeks persepsi rasuah di peringkat Sarawak.
The Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, whose text speech was read by UGA during the Majlis Amanat Integrity in Cebu on Monday, attributed that Sarawak has established a strong foundation to manage corruption.
Kita telah menetapkan berbagai inisiatif yang menjadikan Sarawak selangkah ke hadapan berbanding dengan negeri-negeri lain di Malaysia dengan mewujudkan ombudsman sebagai mekanisme semak dan imbang bagi memastikan kepentingan awam di pilihan.
Abang Johari also hopes that the public sector would look seriously into the Corruption Perceptions Index in Malaysia. By being aware of its progress, it may contribute to the decline of the index.
Right, in the same development, the state government will continue its collaboration with the Malaysian Academy of Corruption Prevention to hold the third series of the Certified Integrity Officer CEIO program starting May. Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said the program has to be resumed due to low participation, even though the number has grown from 10 in 2019 to 90 in 2022.
Itu tentang penempatan CIO, saya mengharapkan semua ketua jabatan supaya menggunakan sepenuhnya kepakaran CIO untuk meningkatkan tabius integriti dan membendung gejala rasuah. Seterusnya, bagi memastikan keberkelsanan unit integriti dan governance, ianya akan melapor terus kepada ketua jabatan atau lembaga.
Right. The Sarawak government plans to build a university in Kampung Trombol near Telaga Air. Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said the plan is one of the government's efforts to develop a quality ummah.
Malam tu saya ngomong Kampung Trombol. Kita akan bangunkan universiti di kawasan tersebut. Dan kalaulah masalahnya beasiswa, saya dan rakan-rakan mencari jalan. Hari ini kita berikan pinjaman beasiswa pembiayaan oleh Yayasan Sarawak yang memudahkan anak kita masuk universiti.
Abang Johari said so when officiating the 61st Sarawak State Level Al-Quran Recitation and Memorization Ceremony at the Majma Hall of the Sarawak Islamic Complex recently. The Chief Minister also encouraged Muslims to broaden their knowledge of both the world and the hereafter. According to Abang Johari, there have been numerous Islamic scholars throughout history who have influenced human civilization and contributed to the Ummah's stability in many areas. The Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Sarawak Tun Abdul Taib Mahmud received his instrument of appointment to continue his service for another 2 years, making it his third term to be appointed as the Sarawak Governor.
Taib was the fourth Chief Minister of Sarawak and held the post for 33 years since March 26, 1981, after he succeeded his uncle Abdul Rahman Yaqub. He is the eldest of 10 siblings and was born on May 21, 1936 to Mahmud Abang Yahya and Hamidah Yaqub. Taib serves as Judge Associate in the Supreme Court of South Australia after having completed his law studies at the University of Adelaide before returning to Sarawak. He entered the political arena in 1963 when he joined the Sarawak Legislative Council and served until 1966. He was appointed Sarawak Minister for Communication and Works as well as Minister of Development and Forestry before entering politics at the federal level until he became Chief Minister. The appointment letter was presented by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah at Istana Negara on Monday, February 28, and was attended by Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, Sarawak Chief Minister Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, and Chief Secretary to the Government Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali. Also present were Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Sabah and Sarawak Affairs Dato Sri Dr. Maximus Ongkili, Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dato Sri Nancy Shukri, and Deputy Minister of Rural Development Dato Hasbi Habibullah.
Now, the change in designation for Sarawak's Chief Minister to Premier is likely to be gazetted sometime in March. Minister of Youth, Sports and Entrepreneur Development, Datuk Seri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said the bill was passed recently during the State Legislative Assembly Dun sitting and the state government has decided to gazette it as soon as possible.
However, Karim has declined to speculate on the actual date when pressed if it would be on March 1st. Karim, who is also the Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts Minister, pointed out that once it is gazetted, the Chief Minister would be addressed as Right Honourable Premier of Sarawak. Meanwhile, for his deputies, there will be Deputy Premier of Sarawak and the Assistant Ministers will be called Deputy Ministers. On February 15, the Sarawak Legislative Assembly Dun passed the Constitution of State of Sarawak Amendment Bill 2022, which contains a clause to change the designation of Chief Minister to Premier.
Right, effective March 1st, the Malaysian driving license LMM for commercial vehicles of the existing Class E licenses, namely E2, E1 and E, will be merged into one Class E license. The merger would simplify matters and save time, as well as open up wider employment opportunities for individuals as commercial vehicle drivers, especially in the post-COVID-19 pandemic period.
Kita mula dengan 1 Mac, kita gabungkan jadi satu. Bagi mereka, ada pilihan dalam tempoh 5 tahun, yang ada E1, E2, dia boleh melalui satu program peralihan. Terus convert. Ya. Saya rasa pemandu, dia akan faham lah. Dulu susah. Nak cari pemandu tak boleh. Berat sikit, tak tahu siapa boleh mandu. Bila mandu, kena sama. Jadi saya rasa ini akan sekaligus memudahkan urusan kerana sebelum itu dikontrol untuk SME kita pun dah benarkan. Jadi tak ada isu. Bukan soal kompetensi lagi. Tapi kita dengar pandangan rakyat bila berlakunya kekeliruan sebegini, maka kita kena melakukan sesuatu dan saya rasa ini satu dasar yang akan memberi manfaat kepada mereka.
The e-license involves a motor vehicle with BTM exceeding 7,500 kilograms, E1 not exceeding 7,500 kilograms, and E2 not exceeding 5,000 kilograms. Adding further, he said existing E1 and E2 license holders would have to undergo a transition program to obtain the e-license. Applications start from the effective date of March 1st, and the individuals involved are given a period of 5 years to go through it. The transition program will also be offered to vocational license holders in Class E1 and E2 to get the Class E vocational license.
Every day has a story to tell. But how well you tell a story is a different story. Let's join Yasu and B to explore the craft of story. You will learn how to structure and craft your idea to create a story to communicate with your audience. You will see a lot of beauty in the craft.
Hai, saya Rashid Saleh dan jangan lupa bersama saya di rancangan Coding Lapar eksklusif di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV.
Misteri adalah sesuatu yang tidak dapat dijelaskan maupun diungkai.
Saksikan Kayu-Kayu Weekend setiap Jumaat jam 6.30 petang hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV.
Vaksinasi adalah langkah pencegahan bagi memutuskan rantaian COVID-19. Vaksin perlu melalui 2 peringkat kajian sebelum diluluskan penggunaannya. Pertama, kajian praklinikal vaksin di peringkat makmal merangkumi ujian sel kultur dan haiwan. Manakala peringkat kedua, kajian klinikal vaksin yang membabitkan manusia dan merangkumi 3 fasa. Fasa pertama, kajian membabitkan puluhan sukarelawan untuk mengetahui kesan tidak balas dan keselamatan vaksin peringkat awal. Kedua, kajian terhadap ratusan sukarelawan untuk mengetahui tahap keselamatan secara mendalam serta keperluan dos vaksin. Dan fasa ketiga, kajian melibatkan ribuan sukarelawan untuk mengetahui kesan sampingan yang jarang berlaku serta tahap keberkesanan vaksin. Bagi kelulusan vaksin, pihak berkuasa regulatory farmasi negara akan meneliti keputusan kajian klinikal sebelum vaksin diluluskan.
Welcome back. Now, 9 Malaysians and their 2 dependents who were evacuated from Kiev in Ukraine to Poland are now on their way to Kuala Lumpur and are expected to arrive tomorrow, March 1st.
In his post on Facebook, the Prime Minister said a Singaporean national was also evacuated along with the Malaysian convoy. Ismail Sabri also acknowledged the Singaporean High Commission's appreciation and gratitude for the assistance rendered by Malaysia in keeping the Singaporean citizen to evacuate from Kiev. For the record, the group left Kiev via land on the evening of February 25th and entered Poland on the night of February 26, 2022. Their arrival was assisted by 2 officers from the Malaysian embassy in Warsaw. They are scheduled to depart from Warsaw to Malaysia on February 28 by commercial flight.
And as of February 27th, over 840,000 or 23.8% of children aged 5 to 11 years old have been inoculated via the National COVID-19 Immunization Program for Kids or PICKIDS. This is a milestone achievement for the country, and the data was presented via the COVID Now website. For the booster shots, over 14.5 million or 62% of the adult population have been administered. The country is nearing completion of getting all of the adult population inoculated with primary vaccines, where 97.5% have completed their 2-dose vaccination regime, while 98.7% have received at least 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. For teenagers aged between 12 to 17, more than 2.8 million or 90% of the said group have completed their primary vaccination regime, whilst 93% received their first dose. The total cumulative administered dose stands at 67,089,834 doses. Now, Malaysia's transition from the pandemic to endemic phase of COVID-19 needs to be implemented carefully. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah said Malaysia was ranked 13th out of 122 countries in the Nikkei's Asia's COVID-19 Recovery Index, and the National COVID-19 Immunization Program had successfully achieved complete vaccination coverage of up to 98% of the adult population. As a defensive measure against the threat of new variants, Al-Sultan Abdullah also urged all Malaysians to get the booster dose of COVID-19 vaccine. To maintain immunity at the optimal level and as a defensive measure against the threat of new variants, the King calls upon the people to get the booster dose under the ongoing immunization program implemented by the government.
Walaupun negara kini semakin bersedia untuk beralih ke fasa endemik, BT berharap agar peralihan ini dilaksanakan secara berhati-hati.
Al-Sultan Abdullah also commended the national COVID-19 testing strategy and the government's affirmative action to reduce the price of self-test kits as a measure of strengthening public health and community empowerment. Through this approach, he said that the reopening of the economic and social sectors can be realized safely. His Majesty also expressed his appreciation for the National Vaccine Development Roadmap, or PPVN, including the strategy to develop Malaysia's very own vaccine as an effort to increase the country's level of preparedness in facing the current pandemic and other pandemic threats in the future.
BT menyeru kepada rakyat BT untuk terus memelihara kesihatan termasuklah kesihatan mental dan sentiasa mengamalkan budaya hidup sihat bagi menjayakan matlamat agenda nasional Malaysia Sihat.
Apart from that, Al-Sultan Abdullah also lauded the National Mental Health Strategic Plan 2020 to 2025, which is designed to address the mental health issues of the people, especially those affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, through various intervention measures and assistance to those affected. He said so in the royal address when gracing the opening of the first meeting of the 5th session of the 14th Parliament on Monday. Additionally, His Majesty have also expressed his appreciation towards the government's hasty response in aiding those who were greatly affected by the flood in 2021, where a total of 1.4 billion ringgit was channeled directly, apart from the 6 billion ringgit allocation to repair public infrastructure and facilities. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah viewed seriously the issues of corruption in Malaysia. His Majesty said it was important for the issues to be addressed in a bid to build a nation that is transparent and with integrity. The remark, which was included in the royal address at the opening of the first meeting of the 5th session of the 14th Parliament here today, received a spontaneous response from the members of Parliament as they cheered and banged the table in support.
Dalam membina sebuah negara bangsa yang telus dan berintegriti, BT memandang serius tentang isu rasuah yang berlaku. BT percaya kerajaan sedang melaksanakan dasar dan inisiatif Plan Anti Rasuah Nasional menerusi tindakan penguatkuasaan, pencegahan dan pendidikan bagi membentera segala bentuk jenayah rasuah.
As such, the government is also in the midst of upgrading the government service delivery system through end-to-end initiative so as to be more transparent, efficient and professional. His Majesty also expressed appreciation for the loyalty and sincere contributions of all national frontliners, members of the civil service, the Malaysian Armed Forces MAF, the Royal Malaysia Police PDRM, as well as government agencies who have dedicated their services to making Malaysia peaceful and prosperous. Al-Sultan Abdullah also said that the welfare of civil servants must continue to be protected in terms of health education, housing and welfare assistance, and must not be only given to those in service but also pensioners, including MAF veterans. A total of 407,097 candidates will be sitting for the Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM 2021 written examination starting this Wednesday, March 2 until March 29. The Ministry of Education MOE in a statement today said 50,154 invigilators have been appointed to ensure the smooth running of the examination, which will be held at 3,382 examination centres nationwide. The ministry reminded all candidates to refer to the SPM examination timetable for information on the date, time, code, papers, as well as instructions that need to be followed during the examination. Additionally, candidates are required to bring along their identification cards and examination registration slips to the centres. While observing the guidelines issued by the Ministry on the operations of schools and examinations, as well as the standard operating procedures on COVID-19 prevention as issued by the National Security Council and Health Ministry to curb the spread of the virus. The examination timetable can be downloaded from the official website of the Examination Syndicate LP, while the guidelines can be downloaded from the MOE's official portal.
Misteri adalah sesuatu yang tidak dapat dijelaskan maupun diungkai.
Saksikan Kayu-Kayu Weekend setiap Jumaat jam 6.30 petang hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV.
They rarely use 16 pound anymore.
Saksikan rancangan info majalah hobi kami pada setiap hari Selasa jam 7.15 malam hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV.
Apa yang kita buat adalah sebagai satu persediaan. Persediaan masa akan datang.
Ya, niat guru okeylah if nak lebih-lebih ada efek kita orang ambil tanda jap yang ada.
Cuba tak imagine kami ngajarnya dari umur 7 tahun maca, umur 15 buatnya pandai maca.
Alhamdulillah nampak perkembangan. Dia berani bersosial, bercakap, berkomunikasi dengan orang lain.
Walaupun rentas negeri dah dibenarkan, SOP kenalah jaga. Pak, pelitup muka. Dan buat ujian kendiri ke sebelum mulakan perjalanan. Gila, Pak. Abang! Tak peduli! Aku tak peduli!
Welcome back. Now, President Putin puts Russia's nuclear forces on high alert in a dramatic escalation of East-West tensions after Ukraine's invasion, following aggressive statements by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization or NATO leaders and economic sanctions against Moscow.
Уважаемые коллеги, вы видите, что западные страны предпринимают не только недружественные действия в отношении нашей страны в экономической сфере, я имею в виду нелегитимные санкции, о которых все хорошо знают, но высшие должностные лица ведущих стран НАТО допускают и агрессивные высказывания в адрес нашей страны. Поэтому приказываю министру обороны и начальнику генерального штаба перевести силы сдерживания российской армии в особый режим несения боевого дежурства.
Western powers protested sharply after Putin announced Russia's deterrence forces were placed into a special mode of combat service. The United Nations called the idea of nuclear weapons used inconceivable, while Ukraine's government said it saw the move as an intimidation attempt as delegations from both countries. Wrapping up the Nightline. K-pop superstar BTS clinched as the winner of the International Federal of the Phonographic Industry or IFPI Global Artist of the Year for 2021, beating the likes of Adele and Taylor Swift. This recognition made BTS the first artist to win the award 2 years in a row, their first being in 2020.
We're truly honored to receive the 2021 IFPI Global Recording Artist of the Year Award. You heard this is the first time ever any artist received Artist of the Year 2 years in a row, so we feel blessed for such a significant title. Thank you everyone, and especially our army, of course, who enjoyed our music and cherished our music.
The year 2021 was another grateful year for all of us. It is all your love and support that made the year more meaningful.
We want to thank IFPI and our fans again. We will keep doing our best to bring good music.
Also look forward to the year 2022 with BTS. See you soon.
Thank you.
According to IFPI, the ranking of the said award is determined by the artist's global performance across all formats, be it digitally or physically. IFPI's chief executive Francis Moore in a statement stated that the band's success is a testament of their commitment in their work of art and to bring their music to the world. Another edge BTS has is that they have performed in 3 different languages, which demonstrate their extraordinary global appeal and dynamic. Other artists who have made it to the top 5 of the IFPI Global Artist Chart are Taylor Swift, Adele, Drake and Ed Sheeran, followed by The Weeknd, Billie Eilish, fellow K-pop boy band 17, and Olivia Rodrigo rounded the top 10. And that's all the time we have for tonight's TVS Nightline. For more news 24 hours, you can always follow us on our social media on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. It's TVSTVMY. Once again, I'm Muhammad Yusuf. Good night and rest well.